a lot of thinking over the summer about next year and things that I'm looking to or incorporate into my classrooms. And so, so you'll have some of that information to think about. At the end, please hang on. There is a brief survey that we are going to ask each of you to just help give us some information for our planning purposes for next year. So I am going to go ahead and jump in and get started, and we will go from there. So my name is Kim Lewinsky, and I am the director of the Writers Matter program. Here is the rest of our team. Most of us are on here tonight. So Bob Vogel is not with us. He is our founding director. He actually started the program back in 2005. So we are excited and ready to embark on our 20th anniversary celebration this upcoming year. Trent, I'll let you introduce yourself quickly.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Trent. I've been working with Writers Matter for the past 6 years. I'm also a professor at LaSalle University in the education department, so I work alongside with Kim, and Bob is also a former professor at LaSalle as well. So nice to meet everybody. I look forward to seeing you all in the future.
Thanks. And Leslie, I'll let you jump on and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Leslie Pugash. I worked as a teacher and as an administrator for almost 50 years before I retired in 2017 and began working with Bob Vogel and Kimberly and Trent on Writers Matter. And I look forward to working with all of you.
Thanks, Leslie. And so you might be wondering, why are you suddenly hearing more about Writers Matter now? We have been in existence for the last 20 years. But this past year, we wrote in a proposal to the Ambassador Fund for a grant so that we could really expand the number of schools that we had, especially in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. And we were thrilled to have been granted that award. And so we are really anxious about broadening the number of Catholic schools that we have. We currently have about 10 working with us. And so we're really excited about the enthusiasm for next year and looking forward to working with many of you. So just to kick us off, I wanted to give just a really quick snippet of some student writing and what you'll hear from students in our program. So this was a little video we put together 2 years ago from our writing contest winners. So it's kind of a compilation of a whole bunch of student writing.
To me, it's a we thing.
The torch is passed to a new generation of activists. The world's courageous, outspoken, and fearless.
Sunshine and rain, joy and pain.
We hide our hard feelings in a shell where we don't let anyone see or know about
2 years of chaos. It was a struggle to find.
We cry, we bleed.
Love and joy, pain and
Let's
hate.
talk about joy.
Bittersweet.
What if joy is what you're showing to the world, but pain is what you're actually
The
feeling?
pain of parting was nothing compared to the joy of reunion.
Those mixed emotions.
I'm the man of the house now.
Joy feels like the thriving kale in my garden. It gets bigger and bigger.
These events sent shockwaves around the world.
What is bittersweetness? What makes these contradicting emotions collide into one?
When you plaster a smile on your face when you're upset.
He is going. I'm trying my best to keep my family whole.
Since 2020, there are many lessons. They will come in handy if we are ever in another
Now,
world.
4 years later, my mom is pregnant with my
Maybe
younger
the rainbow
sister.
was something deeper.
Sunshine always follows after each passing
You might
rain.
feel like your safety is gone, but you can get used to this and flourish outside of your shell.
I was taught to believe in planted seeds. The Laurel Hills is what inspired the progression to climb further up the hills.
We can't stop the waves of life, but we have to learn how to surf
A
them.
rainbow is the testament of sunshine after rain. So we marvel at it and cheer it on. But why? It is but a piece of nature, and we knew that it wasn't going to rain forever.
Words of poetic excellence. I was so honest that you never forget it. I gave you moments and unexpected. With all due respect, this is my pleasure.
So that is just a very quick sampling of the type of writing that students do in the Writers Matter program. As you can see, a lot of the writing is really about themselves and about their lives and the things that really matter most to them. And then a lot of what we do is then connect things that they are writing about within their lives to the curriculum and to, the different subject areas that they are teaching. So just to give a little history about the program, I'm going to show a small clip of a documentary that we had made a few years ago about the program. I want to tell you that if you all go to writersmatter.org, that is our website. You'll find all the materials and all the things that I talk about today. I'll remind you about it at the end. But the entire documentary is also on our webpage when you go there. It's about a 45-minute documentary. Sometimes the students really enjoy watching it and seeing that they're part of a program that really spans across all the different schools in the Philadelphia area and beyond. And so it's a neat thing to watch. But this just gives you a little bit about how the program got started and what it's all about.
Really like to talk about who they were, where they're from, what their neighborhoods were like. And they love to talk about their families, and they love to talk about their issues that they were dealing with as a teenager.
We generally start off with an I am from in the beginning of the school year, and it just builds, and it helps a class come together pretty much because they realize how much they have in common.
We have to get them used to the writing process first before we can, and I think personal narrative helps with that. Everyone wants to talk about themselves, especially middle school kids.
To talk about this kid here, Asani, he talks about his mom a lot. He writes about his mother a lot. His mother, well, he said to me, I like to talk to you about my mom because you really care. And he had to go through so much. He was in a mental institution. He was on medication.
It was an odd day when one of my memories was coming to mind, and I was a raindrop ready to plop for the storm festival, moaning and groaning to my mom's sorrow as if I sacrificed her problems when I really wanted to save them. It was like a dream going on and on. My love for my mother is the lion's love, keeping its cubs safe. I don't know if she still loves me or forgot about me. She is like a woman in men's clothing. When she wears them, she is still a beautiful raindrop. But I'll be waiting, getting ready when my raindrop pops for the storm parade. I believe that once kids begin to view themselves as writers, whether it's from a journal that they've been keeping or from a class assignment, they'll be able to write anything. And so that's, like I said, a very short snippet, but as you can see, not only is Writers Matter about the students and the student writing, but you see how the teachers actually come together and share with one another and talk about, the writing that they're doing in their classrooms and the students that they have in their classroom. And so that's definitely a key component to our program. And so, Trent, I'm going to pass it over to you to give a little snippet, and then I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, so I think Kim kind of just touched upon a really important part of Writers Matter, and that's the community aspect. So the community that our students have and your students will have with the students across the city of Philadelphia and even, in the surrounding areas. But also it's just a motivational tool. It's not necessarily a program. Like I know you all are familiar with probably a million different writing programs. This is more of an approach, and it's more of a way to motivate students to write and to write about themselves and to ascribe meanings to how they're feeling and how they're viewing and interacting with the world. And again, like it's an approach, and it's really a pedagogy of compassion. So with that, if Kim, you hit the next slide, really what that means is that it's an approach that emphasizes empathy, care, and social responsibility in teaching and learning. So we have on our website that I shared a link to in the chat, we have like a social emotional learning curriculum, or not curriculum, sorry, social emotional learning kind of slides and tools that you could use and assignments and lessons, if that's the focus. But we also have all of our other lessons that have been created primarily by teachers and in collaboration with teachers in our network. But overall, our approach is based on putting the heart back into education and really just promoting students, the whole child, essentially. I know you've heard that before, but we really pride ourselves in keeping in mind, that our students have go through things in life. They're going to go through more things in life. They're resilient. They have things that they can talk about and write about. And we just hope to be a tool to help them in their educational journey.
So what is Writers Matter? So essentially we have usually monthly meetings, maybe every 6 weeks or so. Most of these meetings are now on Zoom. We have found that it's a much easier way to get more people to attend, so that you don't have to physically go anywhere. You can just log on. And we see it as an opportunity to really learn together. So on these Zoom meetings, teachers come and they talk about what's working in their classroom and maybe share a piece of student writing, share a lesson that they did with the students and how it went. They also share what's not working. So one of the things I love about our meetings is teachers also come with their challenges and, their frustrations and things that might not be happening. Like they might say, I'm really having a hard time getting my students to do X, Y, and Z. And you suddenly are part of this network where other teachers are going to jump in and say, have you tried this? Maybe do this, how about do this? And so there's just such a great collection of experience and collaboration, that these meetings are really, really powerful. And we always think about how we can best support you in our virtual space. And so whatever we can do to help you at your school or individually in your classroom, that's what we're here for. Each school is also going to be assigned a teacher leader. Most of the principals have notified us that there is somebody that has already been kind of identified as the teacher leader. We do pay the teacher leader an additional stipend. And so we will have a few teacher leader meetings where we just talk about, the program, give some more in-depth information about how to support the teachers at your school. And we ask that you then lead sessions within your school to just help all the other teachers that are in the program. So discussing specific ideas related to the school or the students, talking about what lessons might be coming up and where everybody is, within the program. What kind of things are you struggling with? What kind of things are happening easily? Even sometimes planning across classrooms and across grades has been a lot of fun, and really just kind of keeping everybody on track. And so we do ask that you work with your teacher leader at your school. A lot of times these don't need to be formal meetings. Sometimes, they do all sit down and meet together. Other times it might just be the teacher leader checking in on you or having lunch and talking about something, or, whatever it might be. So how that looks in each of your schools will be dependent upon what works for you. And then the director, so the leadership team that we introduced you to today, are available to go out and attend your school-wide meetings. We also come out and visit classrooms and just, again, we're here to support you and do whatever it is that we can to help you and your school, especially during these early years as you're getting up and running for the program. So to give you a little taste of what you will receive as part of the Writers Matter program. So every student, if you see here, down here, will get a journal. So every student that's in the program, regardless of grade, gets a journal and a pen that they will use for Writers Matter throughout the program. And then we have books that have all been created by teachers who have been a part of the program for years. And so it started off with just this, what we call the Green Book, this Voices of Teens. And so if you are a 7th or an 8th grade teacher, this would be the book that we would give you for each of your students along with the journal. And so it has samples of student writing and all the different themes and different ways to get your students thinking about writing. And then as our program expanded, we had more middle school teachers jumping in. And so they said, we're really interested in the program, but that Green Book is just a little sophisticated for our students. So we had a teacher work with us who created what we call the Blue Book, which is Voices of Teens Writers Matter Volume 2. And this is really for younger middle school. So this is typically used in a 6th grade and maybe 7th grade classroom. So you would know your students and you could decide which of those. So you would get a copy of that for every student in your class. Then as the years went by, we expanded even more and we suddenly had elementary school teachers joining the program. And so we had a group of teachers work together to create what we call the Orange Book. So let your voice be heard. This one down here at the bottom. And so this is really designed for third, fourth, and fifth grade students. However, we do have first and second grade teachers that have used the program and used this book, and they just adapt things down a little bit for those younger students. We are also not opposed to if we have a group of first and second grade teachers that want to come together and maybe create a new book for those students. That is something that could be in the works. Something else that you'll notice when you come to our meetings is we've been around for 20 years and we have teachers that have been a part of our program for 10, 15, and yes, even 20 years. And so many schools have adopted the program across all grades. And so once again, we had the teachers come and say, you know, we're all using these same themes and we have so many new ideas. Can we create a new book? And so this purple book here is what we call our supplemental book. And so it goes along with each of the themes, and there's additional activities that you can do at each grade level along with that theme. So lots of different materials that we have and that you all will be given access to. All of these books can be found on our website. Here it is again, writersmatter.org. So if you wanted to look at them over the summer, you just go to under for the teachers, and then it's materials for learning. And all of these texts are on there digitally. So you can look at them, you can get an idea of what some of these lessons look like, just so that when the school year is ready to start, you have an idea of which book would be most appropriate for the students that you are working with. In addition to that, as I mentioned, over the last several years, our schools have really begun to expand into the Catholic schools. And so once again, we had a teacher come and say, you know, I'm using Writers Matter a lot in my religion curriculum as well as in my ELA. And so they said, you know, we see such a direct correlation to that. And so Sister Edward worked alongside several of our Catholic school teachers and created this Pencils in God's Hands book, which helps you to connect some of what you're already doing in Writers Matter, maybe in ELA, and how you can intertwine that into your religion curriculum as well. And so every teacher that is in the program will also get a copy of this book that you will have if you would like to see how you can incorporate that into your classroom as well, or into your religion classes. Trent, I'll bounce it back to you. They all got a little taste of Andre, and I'll let you.
So yeah, you saw Andre in that I think the first video that we shared with the student winners from our writing contest, because back in 22 or 23, he was part of our incentive. So Andre is a poet and hip hop artist. Again, you saw him kind of streaming throughout that first video. He was once a student at one of our schools in the school district that we actually work with Writers Matter in. So he's a part of our community. He's a performer, community activist. He does work with poetry, spoken word, hip hop throughout the city. He has a group called The Voice for the Voiceless, where he puts on shows and things like that in the city of Philadelphia. And all these different things that I mentioned, on top of the fact that he's a great teacher and he goes into our schools and works and does a great job with our students, it makes him an ideal kind of like mirror and an ideal window to work with our students and encourage our students for in-school programs and also after-school programs. He does a lot of great work in our schools and also for after-school programs if you're interested in that. And I think we have a video next that we can show you of him actually at presentation. I think this is 2 years ago now, at a live performance at the school. It's something that he does that's really great, and you don't really get to see it in this video. He really encourages students to also share. So he shares his writing. He's honest with his process of writing, and then he also has students come up and share during his presentation. So he performs, of course, but also he has students come up and perform their work, which I think is a really key component to what we do as encouraging students to write and also to share and be part of that community. All right, so can we go?
People engage with grades, right? People respect each other, right? People love each other, right? People support each other, right? We're gonna make some noise for the teachers, right?
Price until we exchange. We've been through everything. You fulfill my every dream. You fulfill my every dream. My every dream. I want your flaws and all, like you a part of me. I give my heart to you. You give your heart to me. I want your flaws and all. I want your flaws and all.
Be the drip for me. The way that he move, be keeping it cool. Yeah, it be the limp for me. The walk be so sturdy, teeth white and pearly. Usually don't talk for free. But he did it not, I'm a way back. You looking fine like you wanna be mine. If you wanna be mine, just say that. I like the way that you carry it. Finna let my hand off, you can marry it. That's like, boy, oh boy, you lucky. How the girls in your top, can't none of them touch you. I ain't nervous at all. I can tell that you bought. You could give me a number. I'll tell you the just tell me that, boy, just tell me that what you tell me that, boy, tell me that, boy, just tell me what you tell me that, boy, tell me that, boy, just tell me that.
And so Andre is such an amazing support to our program, and he really is a way to just really motivate and get the students excited and talk to them about the importance of writing. Actually, I was at a school earlier today where he was talking, and he was saying how his teachers used to laugh because when he was in fourth and fifth grade, he said, "Oh, I don't like to write poetry," and now he's made an entire career out of it. And so, he just does a great job of connecting with them. So, um, one of the things that, people say, well, what am I committing to, right? What is this program? And so the basis of what we would like to see from our participants, because we are going to provide you with all the materials and things like that, is number one, we ask that you commit to utilizing the Writers Matter materials and curriculum throughout the year. We, as we said, call it an approach, not a program. So we don't expect you to follow it with fidelity. We don't expect you to have to start on page 1 and go to the end. We certainly want you to adapt the lessons to fit your students and your school and make it, really make it your own. But we do ask that, you're kind of following the philosophy of the program and you are making use of the materials. We truly believe that the power of this community is the community that we build. And so it really, really is important that you are able to attend as many of our community meetings as possible. It's so great for you to hear from other teachers at other schools, as well as teachers within your own school about how they're using the program. And then each week, some of our meetings are kind of very open where you come and just share what's happening in your classroom and student writing. And then other meetings are going to be very targeted where we might be, working on revision or something that we've heard some teachers are having some issues with. And so we might do, some lessons on how to target those areas. We understand that you may not be able to attend every single meeting, but we do ask that you commit to as many of them as possible. Like I said, they're usually every 4 to 6 weeks, about an hour and a half, and most of them are all on Zoom. So you would get Zoom invites for that. We also provide you with a stipend for your time as an honorarium for attending those meetings. Sister Margaret Rose has also said that there may be opportunities for you to get some Act 48 credits from attending these meetings as well. We also ask that you attend any school-wide meetings. So if your teacher leader asks to meet with you or you're having some sessions, within your school, we ask that you do meet with them, or at the very least respond to your teacher leaders when they ask for information and feedback. So one of the things that many people ask is, how much does this cost us? Or what do we have to pay? And the reality is it's 100% free for our schools because our program is completely funded by private funders and obviously through this ambassador fund. And so we use that money to to cover the program, but our funders do ask for information, right? We have to send back reports on how many, students we're working with and how many teachers we're working with, and, how effective has the program been and all of that kind of stuff. So we do ask the teacher leaders to give us a monthly report. And so we just ask that you share with them, what's happening in your classroom. And then every year we also have a writing contest. You saw a little bit of that at the very beginning. And so we do ask that you participate in that. We do give awards to the students, monetary awards. So first place usually gets $125, second place gets $100, $75 for third place, and $50 for honorable mention. So we love just, again, giving students another thing to motivate them, to get them excited about writing, and also being rewarded for doing something that is really, really very powerful and beneficial. Beyond this, there are so many different ways that you can get involved with the program. We have written articles and blogs that we have published with teachers. As I told you before, all of our curriculum has been created by teachers. And so we've worked with teachers that want to get involved to create some of those materials. We've taken teachers with us to national conferences and local conferences just to share about the Writers Matter program and the things that you've been doing in your classroom. And we also have community partners where you can pair up with other schools. We have funding where the two schools could go on a field trip together, or even meet at each other's schools just to, have another audience for your students and their writing. So the sky's the limit with ways that you can get involved in the program. We all certainly understand your first year, you're just kind of testing the waters and trying things out. And so, that's what it's all about. But as you stay with us for years to come, there's a lot of ways that you can get involved within the program. So with that, I'm going to pause for a moment to see if Trent or Leslie have anything else that they would like to add before I move on.
I think you nailed it. I think something else that we've done is we also publish student work. We have a book that we publish of student writing from our contest winners in 2021. And I think in years past, we've done that as well. And we're hoping to do more of that in the future. So yeah, I think you've nailed everything else, Kim.
Thanks, Trent. Leslie, do you have anything?
Yeah, the other piece is becoming a part of a learning community of educators. And so you get to meet educators from all over the city and work with them and get ideas from them and share ideas with them, and also find support. We all, as teachers, experience stress at different times. And very often it's nice to hear that somebody else is going through the same thing and hear from them how they're figuring things out. Teaching is very stressful.
It is indeed, yes. And so, like I said, I wanted to try to keep this brief. And so what we are going to ask you to do is to please fill out this survey. I'm going to put it in our chat. And this will help to give us, a gauge of kind of your interest level for next year. And also, we will be hosting a beginning of the year like new teacher orientation. So all of you that would be new to the program, and ideally we are looking to do that in person. This way, when you come, you can come to LaSalle. We will feed you, and we'll teach you all about the program and how to get started. And then you'll have an opportunity to also pick up all of your materials so that you have those materials before the school year starts. So you'll see that on the survey, we do have a couple dates there. And so we ask that you click on ones that would be most ideal for you, because ideally we'd pick a day that would be best for everybody. So hopefully you can all see the link in the chat. Please click on that, and then it'll take you to the survey. The survey should only take a couple minutes to fill out. Like I said, this is just a very brief overview. We may have even confused you more than told you what the program is all about. And that's why that new teacher orientation at the beginning of the year is really important, where we'll take you through the materials. We'll have some veteran teachers come in and tell you about how they get the year started and how they incorporate the program into their regular curriculum. And so, we look forward to seeing all of you hopefully then. So other than that, I am going to stop there. My email is right here on the site. I will also put it in the chat if there's, an individual question, but I'm also going to stop sharing. So if anybody has any general questions, I'm happy to answer those now. Yes, I see somebody. We kind of know that there's a lot of hiring and moving around that happens throughout the summer. So I know many of you or your principals have sent a list of teacher names. If any of those changes happen over the summer, that is totally fine. And so you could just give us the new teachers' names, any hires that are made throughout the summer. Probably the most important thing is that you just get me their names and their emails so that they are included in all of the communication as far as the invite for the meetings coming up and things like that. So just kind of keep me up to date with any of those new hires, or even if somebody leaves the school, something, so I can take them off our list. But otherwise, certainly feel free to include any new teachers that come into the school. Other questions? Okay, well, before we end, I do also just want to offer some thanks to both Bonnie as well as Sister Margaret Rose, who have been extremely supportive of this program and helping us get the word out to all of you. Like I said, we are thrilled with the enthusiasm and the number of people that have shown up and are excited to start the program next year. And so if Sister or Bonnie, if either one of you have anything you'd like to say before we hang up, I will give you that space.
No, just on behalf of Bonnie and myself, thank you for doing it. Thank you for the Ambassadors Fund for funding it. Thank you for putting it into the Ambassadors Fund. And we're hopeful that many of our schools will be on board. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so unless anyone has any questions, I will stay on as you all pop off. But otherwise, thank you for your time tonight. I know May, especially the end of May, is one of the busiest times of the year. So, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, and even more importantly, can't wait to work with all of you and see our program grow in all of your schools. So, like I said, feel free to reach out at any time throughout the summer, and we look forward to meeting you all in, I guess, late summer, early fall. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions?